welcome to SF Live. I'm your host, Christina Marie Flores. We've got a show for you tonight, people, let me tell you. Tonight we have our own version of the Daly Show. We actually have with us in the house tonight, Chris Daly. Yes. And there he is right now, live with a supervisor in San Francisco. How you doing, Chris?
I am doing pretty darn good. Although I feel like we've already done the interview and I'm now ready to go home.
We have, so just remember everything we had rehearsed and get it down exactly. Now, I'm not in my suit, as you can see, because I'm in my bad girl suit, because I'm here with the bad boy supervisor of San Francisco. I want to know, speaking of bad boys...
The bad boy of local politics.
Very good.
But unfortunately, unlike in other things, whether it's tennis or basketball or what have you, it's not a good thing to be the bad boy in local politics, apparently. So
I see. Okay, apparently.
I think I chose wrong in terms of professions.
Maybe you should start shooting hoops now. That'd work better.
If I were in professional tennis, I'd be John McEnroe. I'd be doing all right for myself.
Yeah, you would. And you'd have commercials and everything, endorsements. Speaking of bad boys, when you were a kid, what were you like? I'm kind of afraid to ask this. What were you like as a kid?
Now, people ask me that, and unfortunately, I have to tell them that I was a very shy and introspective little kid. In fact, I'm working on that 25 random things thing on the Facebook that everybody should know about by now. And I'm not sure what number it is. Number 18 at this point is the story of the parent-teacher conference at my kindergarten.
Where was that?
This is in Bowie, Maryland.
Bowie,
Maryland. Where the teacher had to express concern to my parents that I would use, dark colors, blacks and browns, in my art projects, and she was concerned that, I may be depressed or something like that. So my mom called me over and asked me why I paint with those colors, and my answer apparently was, those are the colors that are left when the other kids take all the good ones. So I guess I wasn't that assertive, was very quiet, somewhat shy, and introspective.
So what happened? What happened? Yeah. How'd you get to where we are today, the Chris that we see today?
I grew up, and honestly, I've witnessed injustice, and that impacts me in a visceral way for some reason or another that I don't necessarily understand. I couldn't explain why it doesn't impact other people the way it does to me, apparently, but I've witnessed injustice, and from a pretty young age, around the age of 18 or 19, I got involved in activism on poverty and homelessness issues, and that's what propelled me into, ultimately into San Francisco politics.
That's an interesting question that you bring up, though. Why do some people not get affected by that? I mean, that's everywhere. And why does it affect some people to motivate them to want to do something, and other people just kind of turn a blind eye to that?
The guess is it has to do with, a sense of power, and then, how much do you believe it's, the blaming the victim stuff, how much do you believe that, it's actually societal causes or influences. But, for me, I think that, society or the system creates inequality, and I've seen firsthand people who've lived some rough lives who didn't have to, and I feel empowered and capable to do stuff to help change that. So that's kind of the big picture about how I got involved in politics.
Now, were your mom and dad involved in politics at all, or do you discuss politics around the dinner table or anything like that?
My mom and dad are great. They both worked in federal government, but not on the political side. They're both pretty liberal, I guess. My mom always used to say that she felt really bad because she felt like she always voted for the right people, but they never won.
Okay.
And so, but I have a great relationship with my parents. They're some of my favorite people. And,
That's good.
They got great politics, and we're out in Virginia walking precincts for Barack Obama this fall. And
excellent.
and that was a big state, a big swing state in the campaign. So that was pretty exciting.
So do you, they share with you everything you're doing in the city and keep current with everything? Do they ever call and say, what did you do that for? Or do they say like...
They watch the shit.
They do?
Yes, on the internet. Because you can go up and get on SFG TV, and even though they're in Virginia, they can pull it up and they watch, and occasionally I'll get a text message from my dad about, you know, what's Dufty doing?
Mm-hmm. Okay. WWD do. What would Dufty do? So here's a question.
I can't believe you don't have them on that vote. You know, what am I going to do?
I like that, being harassed by your dad on text messaging. Was there someone in particular that inspired you to move forward? Are you inspired by anybody?
You know, I'm inspired all the time, but typically not by anybody you've ever heard of.
Okay, try me.
Usually there's people that, you know, I engage who, you know, struggle in their lives, you know, to make it and then ultimately to help the people around them as well. And those are the folks that I'm inspired by. And the newspaper usually only writes about them around Christmas. Yeah. You know.
That's the only time they get press.
So you probably never heard of anybody that inspires me on a day-to-day basis.
Okay. So you moved to San Francisco in 1993?
Moved to the city in 93 to work on homelessness issues. Was involved in a student anti-poverty organization called Empty the Shelters at the time, and had never been here before, but moved out here and worked pretty closely with the Homeless Coalition here in the city, and ultimately helped start a group in the Mission called the Mission Agenda, working on residential hotel issues. We also engaged, as we saw increasing numbers of families in the hotels, on, you know, rent control issues, on neighborhood gentrification issues during the .com boom, and then ultimately the development wars that happened across the city, but centered in the Mission District and south of Market. And that's ultimately how I got involved in local politics. Look, when you show up with 500 or 600 people at a public hearing, which we were doing in the late 90s, but, you know, the vote is juiced, you know, the system is rigged because, you know, the developer is connected or, you know, made big campaign contributions. Ultimately, you start talking about, well, we need to change out the decision makers. And so in 2000, when we returned to district elections, there was this odd leftover district, if you will, which was District 6, include all of south of Market, the Tenderloin, much of the North Mission, and sitting around wondering who was going to run for this seat. You know, I decided that one of my colleagues would be great and totally should run. And somehow over the next month or two, that got turned around into me running for it. And
never volunteer your friends, because then you get dragged into it.
That's pretty much what happened.
So were there a lot of people running?
The answer to your first question about why people don't speak up against injustice is because they might end up having to serve on the San Francisco Board of Supervisors. So better idea just to, you know, not say anything and keep going.
Did you have a lot of competition for that run?
There were 17.
17?
I believe in the first District 6 race.
That's a lot of competition.
Yeah, there was more. There were actually more candidates in the District 5 race 4 years ago, but I think there were 22. But there were 17. You know, we ran a very aggressive grassroots campaign, knocked on lots of doors, made lots of phone calls. So, you know, just with that kind of advanced campaigning, we were up in 6 languages. I think I was one of the first campaigns to do that. So speaking to voters where they were at about the issues they cared about, you know, back in 2000, a lot about affordable housing, which is my area of expertise, and that was, you know, the issue of the day. And so we were able to carry a strong message, and we were able to deliver it strongly, and we were able to win that race against a lot of opponents. Oh, and then in a runoff against the mayor's guy, he wasn't a very good candidate. Nice guy, but not a great candidate. Now,
do you remember when you first got in? What were you like then, and how have you changed since? Because were you going in there with just this idea that you're going to just take over? I mean, you already told me that. You knew that it can follow the money and you'll find out where the legislation goes. Did you go in with a plan that you're going to fight that and make it better?
Did I tell you that?
I think it was ESP.
That's you talking.
That's me talking. Okay.
I might agree
Strike
with
that.
I might agree with that.
Okay, maybe.
You know, it is very different in San Francisco now than it was in 2000.
Okay.